All right, so how do we start? Come on now, let's focus. Garrett, how'd you start?
You're getting on it.
Joey, focus. So you know what's going on. How do I start this? Put the 5 on the other side, yeah. Right? We want to make it, what form do we call this? Standard. We want to make it look like this one, right? Okay? So, we'll do the work over top of this. Here. So, I'm going to go x squared minus 8x. Again, I like to put that on the left. And then, like Naomi said, move the 5 to the other side so it's negative 5. That's how we start. Okay? You want the x squared and the x on the left, the constant on the right. Now, how do I fill in that blank? When a is 1. That's what I want, a to be 1, right? Right, good, Jim. Half the middle is 4, and squared is 16. All right, this is called completing the square. All right, we've done this before. How do I factor this? Just x minus 4, right? The square root of x squared is x. The minus sign, whatever's in front of the b. This time it's minus, and then the square root of 16. And then just do that problem on the right, get 11. Okay? Now, to finish up, to get it to look like this, what do I have to do? Bring the 11 up. Just bring the 11 over. Okay? So I can write f of x equals x minus 4 squared, and then we brought the 11 over, so it becomes minus 11. Michael?
What if it was x squared minus 8x minus 16?
It's always going to be plus when we add the blank, when we complete the square. Okay? When we take half of negative 8, it's negative 4. But what is negative 4 when we square it? Still positive 16, right? So it doesn't matter if the b's negative or positive. When you square it, it's a positive number. So we're always going to add that blank. Okay? Any other questions? Now that I have it in vertex form, I know what the vertex is. Okay? It's the opposite of this negative 4 and whatever's out here. That's the vertex of our parabola. By the way, does this parabola open up or down? Up. What's our a value? 1. Positive 1, right? When the a value is positive, this number in front of the x squared is positive, it opens up. Okay? So then, since I know my vertex is 4, negative 11, what's my axis of symmetry? It's always x equals
4.
Whatever's there. Okay? Looking at the original problem, because I'm supposed to sketch this graph, what's the y-intercept? When it's in standard form, we can look at it and know what the y-intercept is. 5. Good. It's the c value. All right? So the y-intercept, I need that to help me sketch it. It's always 0 something. It's the c value. Just looking at the original part of the problem when it's in standard form. Okay, so my axis of symmetry is 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's our axis of symmetry. Okay, Our vertex is 4, -11. So this is -10, so my vertex, oops, I gotta go back to my, so down here at 4, -11 is my vertex. What did we say our y-intercept was? 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's my third point gonna be? 4, 5's here. 8, 5, right? Look at the axis of symmetry. We went left 4 to get our y-intercept. We go right 4 to get our third point. So there's my parabola, the sketch of it. Okay? That's not using the calculator at all. That's just doing it all by hand. Michael?
Why do you go right to left?
Remember that this axis of symmetry means you're cutting the parabola in half. We know that it opens up. So I know from here I'm going up towards that. So I need to get this other half. Okay? So I go the same distance from this middle over to the right.
So whatever the axis of symmetry is, you go to both sides.
Yeah, opposite, right. Use the y-intercept to help you know which way to go, I guess. Okay? Now, if you want to kind of go backwards, you can. You've got a calculator that'll help you do this, right? All right, so we could go to the y equals, and it was x squared minus 8x, right? And then it was plus 5 to start, right? And hit graph. You know, and there's the graph of it, okay? If I go to the table, there's my y-intercept, right? There's some points. And then, you know, not every time, but I didn't want one too many. You know, not every time is it going to be a whole number for you, but a lot of time it will. But you can go to this screen, second, and the button next to graph is trace. All right? And you see the word minimum and maximum there? Okay, what do we, if we want to find the vertex, which one are we going to be looking for? The minimum, right? So we hit number 3. Okay, now it's going to ask you 3 questions. The first question says, if you can see it, it says left bound. Okay, that means the calculator wants you to tell it to be left of the vertex. Okay, so I like to get closer to it, so I'm going to move my cursor down by hitting the right arrow key, and I'm going to just kind of move closer to it. Am I still left of the vertex? Yeah, so I'm going to hit enter here. And then it says right bound. So it wants the calculator wants you to tell it where to look for this minimum. So you got to give it some boundaries. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I can see it blinking here. So I'm going to keep hitting the right arrow key until I see it blinking over here. That way I know it's to the right of the vertex. Does that make sense? Because it'll go out of sight here for a little bit. I'll come back. But you can tell where it's at. If you watch the y values, like it's negative 10.97, now it's negative 10.99, now it's negative 10.93. It's starting to come back up. We just don't see it yet. Here it is. See it blinking there? But it'll tell you where it's at if you watch these x and y values. So I hit enter. So these two arrows are telling me, or telling the calculator, that those are the two boundaries we made for the minimum point, which is the vertex. Okay? Now it says guess. So at this point, you just hit enter, and it'll find that point for you. What's it supposed to give me? That's 4, -11. Okay? So when I hit enter, it gives it to me, 4, -11. Okay? I don't know why it does this part, but sometimes it gives you a crazy looking number. You can find that stuff there too if you want, and still answer the question. Got to find the vertex. Once you find the vertex, you know your axis of symmetry is x equals 4, whatever the x value is. Y-intercept, you guys really don't need the calculator for because it's whatever the c value is, right? So those are some things you can do to help yourself out on those types of problems. You will have a couple of those types of problems on your quiz when? Tuesday. Okay? So I'm just giving you nothing new today. All right? I want to, if I was asking you, instead of this part, just gave you this and said, find the min or max value, what would you have to find? The vertex. And then what's the answer? We found the vertex. What's the minimum value? Since it opens up, it's a minimum. Good enough? Well, it's just one of those numbers. Which of those two numbers is it? It's the -11. It's the y value. Okay? So when you're asked that type of problem, which you will be asked on the quiz, and you had that for your homework, those problems, you're finding the vertex, and then the y value of the vertex is the answer. Okay? So for homework, those last couple problems, you were doing that. So 36 was 9, it was a maximum. 39 was -1/8, that was a minimum. And 42 was -41, and it was also a minimum. Okay? For 9, my answers are way back somewhere else. Let me find it. Those of you that got it done. Number 9, vertex form is the quantity x plus 2 squared minus 3. So the vertex, thanks Eddie, was -2 and -3. The axis symmetry was x equals -2. And then you were supposed to sketch it again. Again, make your sketch close, all right? You know, label your vertex and your y, I usually label those 3 points. That'll tell me you know what's going on. You label those 3 points for me. For 12, it's the quantity x minus 5 squared minus 22. So the vertex was 5, -22. Axis of symmetry was x equals 5. 15 was f of x equals negative the quantity x minus 2 squared plus 6. So it must have had a -1 in front you had to factor out to start. The vertex is 2, 6. The axis of symmetry was x equals 2. This one, since a was -1, opened down when you graph it. Okay? And then 18 also had a -2 in for a, so it's going to open down. And then it's -2 times the quantity x plus 1 squared plus 7. And the vertex was -1, 7, and the axis of symmetry was x equals -1. So you had to do 9 to 18, right? Did you do 3 and 6 also? Is that what I had? 3 to 18? 3 was just matching, 3 and 6 were just matching the graph with the function. And for number 3, the b graph matched it, and for number 6 was the E graph. Again, you could have just put those in your calculator if you want, and then match them up. Any questions on the warm-up? That's the type of problem that you have to do. That's great.
I was gonna use, but if it opens down, let's say the U shape and opens down, which one would you be selecting or?
It would be a max, and you would still take the Y value of the vertex.
So they couldn't ask, like, what's the minimum of a graph that opens down?
No, there's no minimum for,
Okay.
so if it opens down, it's a max value.
Yeah.
All right? If it opens up, it's a min value. So you look at your A value for that. If your A is positive, it opens up, so it's a minimum. If your A is negative, it opens down, then it's maximum, right? Any other questions? So you have a couple, I don't know, 6 problems I think I had for today? 7. These 3 are like the warm-up, and these 3 are just finding min or max. So that's your assignment for tomorrow. And I believe the pictures that I have for that will work, because that's in those same sections. So I don't know if it's on there today, or you have to look at yesterday's pictures. But I can make sure they're on.
I'm gonna do a pretty good job of staying with it.